This is James Altucher at TheStreet.com TV here with Jim Cramer. And Jim, this week and last week are actually very special weeks for Stock Picker because every quarter around this period, all of the super investors have to start disclosing all of their holdings.
It's so perfect for Stock Picker.
It really is. So there's been nonstop material to talk about and think about. And I'd like to ask you about some of the most recent super investor positions. So Warren Buffett actually, obviously just announced the two railroads he had been hiding from people. One of them was a pick that you had dead on, Union Pacific.
This has just been one you just talked about for a second. What people didn't realize is that the rail business finally has gross margins. It never had any margins.
Yeah, for 100 years.
For 100 years.
Yeah.
These were bad businesses. But there's been enough consolidation, and more importantly, the competition, the trucks, are failing in their mission. And that's the real secret of the trains.
Well, it's interesting because railroads, in a weird way, are parallel to the dot-com, bust, a boom and bust, in that there was so much excitement.
Right.
It was going to connect everybody.
Right.
They threw railroads down everywhere. It was a glut.
300 something like 300,000 miles of track, and they have like half of it now.
Yeah, and all the bondholders went bankrupt.
Right.
So, but then here we are now, and this is the universe.
Yeah, let me give you a local example I think is very classic. There was one of these train lines in my town of Summit, and it connected Elizabeth, New Jersey, kind of a port, all the way to Pennsylvania. All right, and it was very bustling in the early decade or early century. And it brought all of the raw stuff from Pennsylvania, and it brought the finished product from Elizabeth. Well, sure enough, in the late 70s, there was no traffic. They shut it down. They made it a green, little green park. Well, now we're desperately in need of it because what we want to do is we want to haul all the garbage from New York City to the waste landfills in Pennsylvania because it's just a better way to do it, more economic than trucks. And, of course, the people are up in arms and they're going to be blocking because it smells bad. But it's a reminder that we actually took these trains and we made it so that there was so little capacity and they were so non-competitive against trucks that there was no reason for them to be. And then suddenly we have big hauling to do, regular lines to do. Trucks cause a lot of pollution. The roads are all broken down. Train is a very ecological, a cheap way to transport things, and it's a renaissance.
It's interesting because all of these investors, they're not just picking their value plays, so-called value plays, but they're making a big demographic bet. Like, Buffett's not just buying one company, he's buying the sector. Carl Icahn ended up buying the one that I thought Buffett was going to buy, CSX, he's a shareholder of now.
Be careful,
Gase owns
CSX.
Canadian.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but CSX has its children, TCI. They have an active, also available on Stock Picker. They have a very activist fund, and they're trying to get CSX's excellent CEO, Michael Ward, to lever up to buy back stock. Constant theme among these hedge funds. They go into the CEOs and they say, we need you to borrow money to buy back stock. And Michael Ward has said that this is ridiculous. He's generated 25% compound return for 3 years. Pick on the losers, not the winners. But he's very concerned. He's very concerned that there will be such a groundswell, Icahn, this TCI, Atticus. I don't think Atticus wants this to happen.
Well, it is a worry because, like Icahn, that's his first MO. Like, he goes into Time Warner and he asks them to lever up. He goes into Motorola. And Motorola, he backed off on that. But
can I just mention Motorola for a second? Two of my best guys in the last 24 hours have told me that Motorola is a buy. And it's off of something that Nokia said last week. Nokia said that the glut has been worked off. Now, the glut was a Motorola glut. So what people are beginning to think is that Motorola may have smooth sailing for the next 3 quarters. Their execution is so poor, but if you got a change at the CEO level, or if it's true that the inventory glut's been worked off, Motorola may be 1 down, 5 up.
Well, it's interesting because Eddie Lampert also recently disclosed a 900,000 share position, though, in Motorola. It's small for him, but it's still almost a million shares.
Everybody is keying off of this notion that the inventory glut is over. Tech, by the way, very interesting here because cell phones are good. Some semis are good. There is a sense among a lot of buyers I know that it is time to get back into some of the higher growth tech stocks, but they don't really know which provide them. They're all envious, like an F5. I don't know, we should go on Stock Picker to see who owns F5, but F5 has been a big winner. I have 2 friends that are getting on Akamai because that's come down a lot. There is a schism in the tech group right now. Some people feel like you've got a gun jump ahead of the traditional August bottom. And there they want to buy Intel because they think the gross margins are improving. They want to buy Microsoft because they think it's doing much better than people realize. They want to buy Adobe, which has got a big product cycle. They think that Cisco is very solid. My issue is, and I've been writing this on realmoney.com, is those are dead money versus oil, oil-related, and machinery/ag machinery. So that's where I think the action is.
Well, and Icahn, I've never really seen him buy oil plays before, but now he's buying Endarco. And
He did the Carnegie.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Now, let me ask you, what's the status on Stockpicker about his WCEI bid? He let it lapse.
Yeah, basically today, he basically said it was over. I haven't...
Well, that stock is probably 5 points too high, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's up today, though. It's up 1% today.
There's got to be something else going on.
Maybe people think there's another bid that's coming in.
I don't know. One other in Stock Picker, I don't want to go on too long, but one other in Stock Picker that's really important that go to Dan Loeb's, go to Third Point. Really good.
Yeah, and he's been buying a little bit. What's interesting though is all of these guys piggyback off of each other.
Yes, they do.
So, and again, look at Lampert. He's buying Citigroup now.
I know. There's only so many good ideas that are out there, James.
Yeah,
that could be it.
And so, if all the activists, all the super investors, are basically calling each other up on the phone, heck, they're probably looking at Stock Picker, piggybacking each other. We should be doing the same thing. Like that's the whole point.
Tell them to just read Stock Picker.
So yeah, that's why we made it. So. Anyway, that's James Altucher and Jim Cramer talking about the latest super investor positions. Thanks a lot.